learn to forgive others. But you cannot forgive others until you experience the true meaning of being forgiven by our Savior. You know, most people, this is their problem. Peter, I don't have a problem forgiving my father. I don't have a problem forgiving my children. But they keep repeating the same mistake. That, my friend, is precisely the meaning of this verse. Remember the Apostle Peter, he asked Jesus, how often should I forgive my brother? What was the answer? Peter wanted to impress Jesus because the Pharisees taught them, forgive 3 times. Peter said, 7 times. Jesus said, no, 70 times 7. That's how many times? Did you pass your math algebra? 70 times 7. 490. Hindi 100, 490. In other words, what must you do? No. 70 times 7 is what? 560. Am I correct? No, 490. Yes. Am I getting old now? You are to keep forgiving. 7 times 7 is 49. 490 times. Therefore, in our family, the culture is forgive and ask for forgiveness. I remember one time, my children, they were fighting. In the family, we teach them to forgive. These are the steps. Number 1, you go to each other and say, I am sorry. Number 2, forgive me. 4. Number 3, hug. You know, they don't mind doing number 1. They don't mind doing number 2. But number 3, hug. Oh no! How can I hug? But you know what? I noticed something. Remember in our family? Obedience. Understand? Obedience. So they go to each other now. They're really mad. They're angry. But we talk to them, okay? Ask for forgiveness. Ask for forgiveness. Hug. I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? What's the next step? You know, at first they're like this, huh? They don't want to hug, okay? And then they hug. Every time I see this, the moment they hug, something happens. They soften, they melt. It's a divine principle. Obedience unleashes God's power. Motion before emotion. Many of us, we want to wait until we feel like forgiving. We want to wait until we feel something before hugging. That will never come. You do it first, and then the feeling will follow. Many adults are not mature when it comes to emotions. They have become the slave of their emotions. No. Don't be the slave of your emotion. You are to be the master of your emotion. Because your emotion is a very cruel master. Don't allow emotions to control you. You do what God tells you to do, and emotion will follow. I've seen that in the lives of my children. Today, I want you to realize you cannot afford not to forgive. You know why? The Bible tells us. Let's read this together. Everybody. Be angry, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. Do not give the devil an opportunity. Notice, when you are angry, do not keep it. Do not let the sun go down on your anger. The context of these verses deals with bitterness. Get rid of wrath. Get rid of anger. Why? Don't give the devil what? What does it say? Don't give the devil. Now, what is the original word of the word opportunity? I teach you a new Greek word. It's called topos. You have the word topography. Topos means place. Do not give the devil a place in your life. The Apostle Paul understood this clearly. Notice what he said. Let's read this together. But, everybody read. But one whom you forgive anything, I forgive also. Why? So that no advantage will be taken of us by Satan. We are not ignorant of his schemes. Notice the word schemes. Schema. Satan has a lot of schemes. He knows how to get to you. And the way he gets to you is do not forgive. How do you know you have not forgiven? If you cannot show kindness, you have not forgiven. Listen to me. I'm not asking you to trust. Trusting takes time. But kindness is instantaneous. Be kind to one another. Forgive. You need to practice forgiveness. Because if you are offended, that is bad enough. What is worse is if you don't forgive, the offense, the hurt, can go into something worse. Remember, every time you are offended, you have two choices: to forgive and not to forgive. When you choose not to forgive, the offense, the hurt, is bad enough, but something gets worse. You allow the devil now to mess you up big time. In my encounter with demon possession cases, 90% of the time, people are bitter, angry, and they don't even know this. They don't forgive. And worst of all, they're bitter against loved ones, bitter against parents, bitter against siblings. My goodness, the devil is so happy when you are full of bitterness and anger. So in our family, what must you practice? Forgiveness. Can I tell you something? The family environment is very crucial. Have you been to a room when you enter, suddenly you feel that tension? Have you been to such places? Words have not been spoken yet, but as you enter, you know something's not right. How do you explain that? The reality of the spirit of anger. The reality that this world is not just physical world. This world is not just a physical world. And may I suggest, everybody look at me. You want your family, you want the family environment to be happy, positive, relaxed. Because you want your children to want to come back to your house. Today, there are many teenagers after high school, when they go to college, they want to go abroad. They want to leave the family. You know why they want to leave the family? Because in the family, there's lots of tension. You know why they want to get married early? They want to marry early. They want to get away from the house. Because the house is full of tension. It's not a happy home. Listen to me. You want to make sure your family has an environment where there is love, forgiveness. And what's the secret? Forgiveness. Today, I'm happy to ask my friend Larry to give a testimony about his family and the daughter. Let's welcome Larry and Pomps.
In our family, our father was considered the ultimate authority. What he says goes, and one cannot answer back or even reason out. If you want to make an appeal, you go to the second in command, the mother, and hope for the best. It was not a problem when we were young, but when I started to attend high school, I felt choked because of my father's authority. I noticed that my friends' families were different. They were more liberal, and they were having fun. Whenever I was at home, I would feel I'm missing out on the joys of life that my friends were experiencing. And so I would always use props like notebooks, group assignments, sports, group projects, so I could go out and be with my friends. Because of this situation, we learned about life through our friends. We learned to be worldly. I learned many vices, immorality, drinking. One of our siblings even got involved in drugs. And basically, we were self-centered, selfish people who just want to meet our desires and needs. Eventually, I became a father myself and followed the style of my father. I also was being overly controlling at home, as I thought it was the best way to command obedience and respect. I thought also that my responsibilities are to provide for my family and send them to good schools and everything will be okay. I did not realize that they were going through the same experiences that I had, which made them become fearful of me. Through a series of events, I came to attend CCF Bible studies, and I realized how sinful I was, and there I accepted Jesus as my personal Lord and Savior. I thank the Lord for dying on the cross for my sins. As I was growing in the Lord, I felt strongly that my family should learn what I learned about Jesus. I had a strong desire to teach, and so I thought, but my teaching style was also strong. I would force them to attend Sunday school, worship, and Bible studies. But they were really not interested, and nothing was happening in their lives. Eventually, I brought it to my D group for prayers, and they gave me biblical insights and prayed for my situation. I did not know what to do. Every day I would go down on my knees to pray for my children. But God really wanted to change me first. Upon my pastor's advice, I gathered my kids around and asked them how I can be a better father. I said, I will not speak. I will not defend myself. I would just want to learn how to become better. There was silence for a while. I thought they did not want to speak. But slowly, they spoke almost whispering, and one of them said, Dad, you were always thinking that we were doing something wrong. You never trusted us. Another one said that at times you become unreasonable. When you lose your temper, you get mad without investigating. And another one said that sometimes you do not do what you say. It was a difficult situation. I wanted to reason out because in my heart, I said they're wrong. But I kept silent, and I just said, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I promise to be a better father. And after that, we all learned to say sorry and ask for forgiveness from one another. And things began to get better.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Poms, and I am the third of 6 siblings in the Almeda family. I grew up in a traditional Filipino family setup wherein my dad was always out making a living while my mom stayed at home to attend to our needs. My earliest memories of my father would involve him normally going home smelling like alcohol, and if he ever was at home, he was asleep most of the time. Over the years, as I was growing up, I developed a fear towards my dad. He used to shout at us out of anger, and there were times when I would lie just so he won't get mad at me. I have also witnessed numerous fights he had with my mom. When I was 13, we learned about my dad's newfound faith, but during this time, it became more like a burden to us. One day, my mom found out that my dad brought one of my older brother to a 3-day summer camp without even telling her. This led to a big fight, which ended with their separation. My mom asked him to leave the house, so he did, but he brought all of us with him. I thought it was going to be a temporary arrangement, but when I saw a truck bringing all our furniture to the place we were then staying, I was hurt and became mad at my dad. I felt that he was forcing his belief on us and that if my mom didn't abide by what he wants, she will be left on her own. It's like whatever we feel didn't matter at all to him. He didn't allow us to visit our mom for 2 months, but he eventually allowed us to have a weekly schedule. We spent the weekends with my mom while we stayed with my dad during the weekdays. He would try to teach us about the Bible, but the way he did it sounded like he was scolding us. So we never really got excited about Bible studies. When I was 16, I left my dad's house to move in with my mom without his permission. When he found out, he threatened me saying my life will be ruined if I live with my mom. I became nervous and uncomfortable whenever he's around.